This right here gonna be a cakewalk.
I'm often asked whether or not I will make videos about Virtua Fighter 6, whether or not I will buy Virtua Fighter 6. Yes, I will. I am interested to see how this game pans out. I played it very long time ago, like PlayStation 2 era, right? And I remember this game as the one that had like the ring out, you could kick people off the thing. Like when I thought about fighting games, Virtual Fighter, DOA, Street Fighter was those games. Mortal Kombat as well, right? I always say this, but I didn't discover Tekken until way later. But these games were so cool and they were like a phenomenon. Everyone played them, everyone know of them. And to see all of these games, all of them, fall short of the glory that they once had is pretty crazy, because we can sit here all day and talk about how Tekken 8 lost the sauce, but some of the great games that like has been doing serious work for decades, how did they manage to fall off, right? Those are the questions that players are trying to answer, and also that the developers are trying to answer, the hurdles they're trying to overcome. And when you look at the new Virtual Fighter 6, we got two things here that I want to show you guys. This one we already seen before, right? This is that cinematic gameplay look that we got a couple of months ago, and it sent shockwaves around not only the gaming community, but it just was breaking into larger video games, right? And it looks amazing. It's just like true kung fu. This is what like Tekken players are asking the Tekken developers to do. They said they wanted to focus on real martial arts and make it like one of those old movies, Enter the Dragon type of game. And this has so many players excited to see what comes next, especially talking about how the 3D fighting games specifically are hurting right now. Tekken 8 is losing their identity, and then what's next after that, right? DOA, where are you? I don't see you. So this looked really cool, but then we also had this here, which is real gameplay, and it's only 7 seconds, but this shows a truer example of what the game will look like. And it's really cool. It's fast paced. It's very like up close. Like this is what people come to expect from not only Virtual Fighter, but also in terms of a 3D fighting game. You can see the sidestep there, the punish. You don't really see like over the top. You don't see anything that's not Virtual Fighter. This is all Virtual Fighter, and this is all what people want. One thing I will say about this before we move on to looking at developer tweets is this stage is so unique and there's so many obstacles. I want to see what happens if you push someone into that moped, that garbage can, into one of these corners in these alleys. Is there invisible walls? What is the physics like there? The reason why I asked this question is because when you talk about Tekken 4 had they experimented with the idea of like obstacles, and the experience at that point in time, when Tekken 4 was released, is that it ruined the gameplay. It made combos not work. It made other combos do work. So this interactive environment could either make or break the game. And I am interested to see how it pans out. But now looking at what the developers are saying on Twitter, we're going to be looking at the tweets from Yamada. Producer, game designer, creative genius, new Virtual Fighter project. Sorry, this is a Japanese page only. But even with saying that, he starts tweeting a lot of stuff in English and caught everyone's attention. It starts off here with Tokido visiting Sega. Someone responds to this and they say, the VFES illustrations are dry and ugly because they hired young female designers who have no connection with to Virtual Fighter. The old models had charisma, but a balance between stylized beauty and realism is needed. Not 100% real. The characters in VFES looks like Yakuza NPCs. Please don't make this mistake again for Virtual Fighter 6. Yeah, so that's a take, right? And I triggered this response here where Yamada says, I understand your passion for Virtual Fighter, but this comment is unacceptable. Criticizing the work is fine, but sexist remarks and blaming the staff are wrong. The team is doing their best, and this is not their fault. Please reconsider your words or I'll have to block you. Now, before we take a shift and start talking about the game specifically, another tweet here that Yamada made says, blaming your young staff or female designers is not only incorrect, but also unfair. Our producers are fully responsible for the final output. If you have complaints, direct them to us, not the staff. This kind of reminds me of what Harada be saying about, like, you know, don't get Nikatsu involved, don't get the Soul Calibur devs who's been hired to the Tekken team involved. Give us your criticism. This is the same thing this guy is saying. And I draw that connection because when Harada said it, everyone was upset. But when Yamada is saying it, everyone is agreeing. Maybe it's the context that's different. I don't know. But you have this question here. Now we're going to shift a little bit where it says, I'm very much looking forward to Virtua Fighter 6. I was wondering if you considered certain guest characters for Virtua Fighter 6 from Sega games such as Axel, from Bare Knuckle, or Shinobi. I think it's really early to be talking about guest characters for Virtua Fighter 6. I am interested to see what they can do for their base roster. For someone like me who knows about the franchise, knows about the series, but doesn't really have any like fan favorites that come to mind. I only know like the main characters, right? I'm kind of like very casual. I'm looking forward to the new experience. For someone like me, I think it's important for them to nail the characters and really highlight each individual fighting style and also design, but then also to bring in more people like me is, yes, to do some collaborations with many other games and properties and whatever, right? But Yamada says, that's fun thought, but new Virtual Fighters will have its own unique flavor. Stay tuned. Now, I wonder if this is outright saying no guest characters, because we are in a guest character era of fighting games. And I do think it will be cool if, like, even if they put a Kazuya in Virtual Fighter, right? I think some real martial arts character from another fighting game some point during the lifespan of Virtua Fighter 6 is kind of necessary, in my opinion, right? At least one. Another question says, is this the hardest project you've worked on, harder than working on the Yakuza games? Yamada says, every project is hard, but this one carries the greatest responsibility and the most ambitious yet. Also keep in mind that they said they were doing something in terms of their story. I don't know how much of detail they went into, but when you talk about fighting games falling off and them having to recover, this is something that I want to see. I want to see how ambitious they are in terms of design, gameplay, story. I feel like fighting games are cursed to have a bad story. And it's not that they can't have a good story, it's that they just don't have a good story. Fighting games have so many unique characters from all over the globe. All have really interesting backstories. You mean to tell me you can't find a way to put a narrative together to tell a interesting plot? How? Lastly, it says, Yamada, since Virtua Fighter 6 development involved in RGG Studio, can we expect to see familiar faces from Yakuza Like a Dragon? Yamada says, I can't say, stay tuned. Now, I'm a YouTuber. Speculation is what I do. This sounds more like a yes than a no. But also there's another conversation that was happening in the Tekken community where people want Kiri Kazama, people want Goro Majima, people want Yakuza characters, even Street Fighter, Mortal, everyone, right? And for the longest, they said no. They said no. They said no. But then with the surprise of Virtua Fighter 6, players are now wondering, have they said no all these years to the other fighting games because they're planning on doing their own fighting game and they want Kiri to be a guest character in that, Goro to be a guest character in that, Sonic to be a guest character in that? Okay, I'm trolling with the Sonic. But the point is that they are Sega and they have a lot of things that other games want and they can't get. Is it a possibility that Kiri Kazama will be in Virtua Fighter 6, or is Virtua Fighter 6 even off limits to them? I am expecting a trailer sometime this year. If we're lucky, Evo Vegas, we'll hear something sometime this year. Most certainly.